Wireless.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block. What you need in stock, with people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
Hi, this is Len Casper, new voice of the Chicago White Sox, reminding you this is where the Sox play. WHOW AM and FM.
Brought to you by Enel Green Power's Alta Farms Wind Project, Baum Chevy Buick, Clinton Athletic Boosters, Clinton Community YMCA, Covenant Animal Clinic, Liberty Village, Midstate Eye, Nan Krang with Remax Choice, your 217 home team, Warner Hospital and Health Services, and ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with a time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
Let's swing open the farm gate together every day on WHOW. I'm Stu Ellis, your host of the long-running agriculture feature called The Farm Gate. I bring the latest news and information on where agriculture is and where it's going to WHOW Ag listeners several times a day. From tariffs to treaties, from the Board of Trade to the running board on your truck, I cover Central Illinois agriculture every day on The Farm Gate. Hear it all on WHOW's many platforms, on the radio or online. Join me, Stu Ellis, for The Farm Gate.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Our guest in this segment of the morning show, Breann Titus, is the Director of Agency Development for Community Action. Good morning, Breann.
Good morning.
Good day, dreary Friday morning to you, but nonetheless, it's the summertime. And with that said, we're going to talk a little bit about job openings because I know you and Jared caught up last month talking a lot about Head Start. And I know that when folks think of community action and job openings, probably Head Start is that number one thing that we seem to talk about most often. How about job openings? What you're looking for at community action right now? How about that?
Absolutely. So job openings, I think, is something that I think nationwide we're kind of all struggling with right now with staffing. And with Head Start in particular, there are so many different positions within the Head Start program in all of our counties and all of our classrooms, because we have to maintain certain ratios from teacher or teaching staff to child. Mm-hmm. So there's always so many available options for Head Start. And I do think that we do have a little bit of turnover in our Head Start world, in our Head Start program. And some of that I feel like, I think it depends on what they're doing every day, like what their responsibilities are, working with the children every day. Mm-hmm. I think anybody that's listening that's ever worked with children in a daycare setting or in a teaching setting, I think they ultimately love what they do, but they know that days can be very tiring and tasking. I mean, we have our own children. We understand how that is.
Sure.
There are days where I love them dearly and other days where I'm like, okay, mama needs a break.
Yeah, so, I love you, but leave me alone.
Yes, exactly. So I think, when you're dealing with children all day, every day, it can be very tasking and it's not for the faint of heart. So I do feel like maybe some of that turnover has to deal with, people coming in and thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be the best job ever. And not really realizing what it takes to deal with that age group, because you're dealing with, infants all the way up to 5 years old.
Right.
These Head Start children comes from low income families. Sometimes they're dealing with things at home, like they have an incarcerated parent or maybe a military parent, or they're in foster care. And so we really try to focus not only on them academically, but also their personal, their developmental, their emotional, and overall well-being.
Right.
So it is not for the faint of heart, but I do think community action does a culture that is passionate about their people and not only their customers, but also their staff. And it gives you the sense that we're there for a purpose and for a mission. And we really try to push that mission because, yes, you're going to have days that are tasking. You're going to have days that are hard. We all have those options, but, or all have those days. But when you look at the mission, what we're there for and what the purpose that we're there for, I think that's what kind of solidifies our staffing plan.
Right.
And so, we have anything from a bus driver to a lead teacher, to a classroom assistant, to a teaching assistant. And all of them have different levels of requirements and all of them have different levels of responsibilities.
Right.
But there's a minimum of 3 teachers ultimately in each classroom in every one of our Head Start classrooms.
Right. So you really need a lot of staff.
We really need a lot of staff.
Yeah.
And so we've even had some big positions in our corporate office this year that have been open. We still have a fiscal assistant position that's open. We have a really strong fiscal department, which is amazing and ran by our interim CFO. But there's so many steps through the process to make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's, that having an extra person in that position is going to be so helpful.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to touch on a couple of things that as you were talking there. You talk about the challenges that Head Start has. Like you said, there's a lot of things you're dealing with when you've got a child in that classroom.
Yes.
So how does community action support those individuals that are working with the kids in a very challenging spot? How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Head Start department has always been really good about bringing in different types of training, webinars, and then the National Department of Head Start is also really good about providing like different webinars for training on how to deal with working with children and different types of challenges with each child. Also, working on that mental health component. Something new that we did as an agency is we worked on an employee wellness program this year. We worked through a program called Go 365. It's through Humana. And it is a lot about like focusing on managing your stress, focusing on your activity level, focusing on making healthier choices, not just from a food standpoint, but also just from a self-care and stress standpoint.
Right.
And you build, like you do activities, you complete activities, and you get points based on that. And then it comes down to rewards. There's incentives around that. And so this has been something new we tried this year, and we really are seeing a positive impact that people are getting more involved. And we're hoping that we're learning a little bit about it because a lot of that self-care stress management is education.
Right.
People don't always know how to do that. And so there is an education piece that comes with the Go 365 program that says like, hey, try these for stress management, try this for self-care. And so there's an education piece that goes along with that. So I think that's helping. A lot of us learn like, hey, like you're going to have to learn some way to manage stress.
Right. Yeah.
Or it's never going to work.
Right.
And who wants to love your job when you're dealing with day-to-day stress? And sometimes it can be just normal stuff, but if you're not learning how to manage it, it's going to become bigger stuff.
Sure. Breann Titus is with Community Action, our guest in studio this morning. I remember having this conversation in years past, particularly as it relates to Head Start, that one of the challenges with finding staff was the requirements that you have to meet to be in the classroom. Have those changed at all? Has that eased where, maybe you can find more people as those requirements maybe get lessened a little bit? How about that?
Unfortunately, not on certain positions. So like our teaching staff, that's the one that's probably the most difficult because the requirements that they have to have for it being an actual lead teacher is pretty intense. They have to have an early childhood background. I believe it is even a bachelor's degree in early childhood. And, a lot of times they want to get into the school districts. And so sometimes that hurts the chances of getting in, finding enough candidates for our Head Start world. As far as the classroom assistants and the teacher's assistants, their requirements are not as challenging or not as intense. But we still want to make sure that not only are we providing a safe place for these children, we want to make sure we're also providing them a first-class education.
Right.
So I think that's why Head Start has the difficult requirements, is because they still want to make sure that these children are getting the education that they deserve and the education that every other child is available and
Sure.
ability to get.
Right, sure. How about other positions open within? By the way, anything on Head Start we haven't touched on in terms of employment, culture, anything of that nature you want to touch on today?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think just looking at benefit wise, summers off, holidays. We actually have a lot of holidays for our location. That's one of the things when we changed our vacation policy a couple of years ago. We added a few more holidays. For 4th of July, for example, we had off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For
What?
holidays.
No way.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
So we're kind of spoiled in that way. So that's a huge benefit for working for community action. And then also being able to have your medical, your dental, all of your insurances. It's not a 401k, but it's a 403b, very similar. And then of course, just the culture of being, helping people and doing it because you're passionate about it. And we love what we do. That's why we go to work every day. So I think that's there's a lot of positivity around that.
Well, and you're going to be surrounded by people that care about what they do.
Yeah.
It's not going to be just a job for most people. Most people in the agency want to help people and they want to lift others up, and working for community action is the way to do that.
Absolutely. And those kids some of the kids really get build that really strong relationship with the teachers, and they need that. I mean, maybe unfortunately, maybe they don't have a great relationship at home or a good home life, but those teachers, they kind of lean on and they focus on, and they respond to that stability. And so I think that's where, I mean, I've even been in classrooms before where I'm like, you're going to be my favorite.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just can tell you're going to be my favorite because just they're so sweet, and they know, they give that sense they need you, and you're teaching them along the way. So, I mean, you're teaching the future. So,
right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, Breann, I'll tell you what, I look at the clock. We could start diving into another subject. Let's take a break here and we'll talk some more. How do folks learn more about community action and all the things you have to offer the community? How about that?
Absolutely. So our best place is our website, which is capsule.info. There is also a human resource page that has all of our job postings available, plus job descriptions. So if you're listening and interested, please go there. And then, of course, our Facebook page. It's updated daily. So go search Community Action and find us on Facebook.
Breann Titus with Community Action, our guest in studio. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton is your local trusted source for compassionate care. CEO Paul Scourin here, reminding you to find out how we provide care close to home by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
When it comes to fire and water restoration, ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties is the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. Find out all the services they provide by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Do you want a chance to positively impact the community and grow your career? If you've got the passion, Memorial is the place. Right now, Memorial Health is hiring for a wide range of positions across multiple departments and clinic areas. Apply your passion today. Visit us online at jobs.memorial.health to see all available positions, benefits, and more. Come discover all the things Memorial has to offer. Memorial is an equal opportunity employer.
You've been planning to build a pole barn or install a new metal roof, but you want to make sure they're built to last. Mansi Metal is a local company that manufactures quality metal roofing and post-frame buildings right here in central Illinois. This means you'll have everything you or your contractor needs to install that metal roof or put up a building designed to last generations. Stop by our Mount Zion factory or visit us today at manseametal.com. MANSEA metal.com.
This Miller Media Group radio station and DeWittDailyNews.com are the places to turn when the weather turns bad. We provide you on-air closings and cancellations every 10 minutes when applicable. Plus, our cancellation list is constantly updated on DeWittDailyNews.com. Just click on the icon labeled Cancellations, Delays, and Closings. And when you need the latest road report, just click on the Road Conditions icon. Both are on the blue menu bar just below the masthead. On air or online, we've got you covered 24/7.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Breann Titus is Director of Agency Development for Community Action, our guest in studio today. You know, Breann, we talked a lot about Head Start and the openings and opportunities in that program within Community Action. What else is available? Like, what other jobs are you looking for? How about some of those things at this point? How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got two in particular jobs that are outside of our Head Start that we're really looking for right now. A fiscal assistant position to work in our fiscal office along with our CFO, our fiscal manager, and another fiscal assistant. We basically have an office of 4 in that position. And we have one of our staff members that has been with us for over 25 years. So she's looking to retire at some point. And so if we can get a new fiscal assistant in and get them trained so that she feels a little more comfortable eventually retiring.
Okay.
But that's really helping at least handling all of the money and the financial statements and things like that come into the agency. We're almost a $12 million agency, and we're grant funded. So there is a lot of restrictions, a lot of, point checking and things like that. So very important position. And we also have a personal development coach position available that helps service Lincoln and Clinton. And that position really is working with the customers one-on-one, going through that personal development coaching with them, helping them deal with obstacles and challenges in their current life, helping them navigate through, like if they're going to go get their GED or if they're going to go onto a college or a trade school, really helping them navigate that world. That also goes with our GrowMe application that we've talked previously about.
Sure.
So they kind of use the GrowMe tools to go in with the personal development coaching, financial literacy. They also teach that. And then of course they can also help through scholarships. You know, we have scholarships available. A lot of people don't connect us with scholarships, but we have scholarships available to help pay for people to get education, to help pay for people to get GEDs. And those personal development coaches kind of help them navigate that process. And we just talked off air about like the requirements. Not every one of our positions requires a degree. Not every one of our positions requires a bachelor's degree. We sometimes will say a bachelor's degree is preferred, but it's not required. So we do post all of our full job descriptions on our website for that purpose, because we want people to read them and say, hey, like, I may not have a bachelor's degree, but I can meet all of these skills, or I feel like I can handle all of the responsibilities that are required on the job description without a bachelor's degree.
Right.
And so don't hesitate just because you don't have a bachelor's degree. It really does come down to how you handle yourself and what you're capable of doing and that interview process. So there is also an online application that you can fill out online, and it gets submitted straight to our human resources director.
Okay.
So we try to make it easy for everyone. And
now when it comes to the website is
capsule.info.
Sure.
Yep. And there's an actual human resource page right along the top. There's a title bar, and you can click on it and it'll show everything that's available. We try to keep that updated so that everybody knows how they can apply, what they need to apply for, and things like that. But I'm telling you, I've been with the agency for over 6 years. I've worked in a lot of different environments. I've worked with a lot of different types of bosses. I've worked with a lot of different industries. And so far, this has been my most favorite as far as like my work that I'm doing every day, and then also the ability to really have that work-life balance. I know that's kind of like the hot ticket question that a lot of people are asking and almost scared to ask in some interviews, but that was super important to me. And I feel like this is the first time that I've been able to really manage my work life and be able to feel like I'm being successful at that, and also being able to manage my home life.
Sure.
Because one of them, sometimes you have to give, and it's hard to be able to do that. And this is the first time I really just feel like we have that kind of family oriented culture, but we also have the culture to help people. And so we really try to make it a good environment that people feel comfortable and want to stay for a long period of time.
Sure. And I can't speak to before she was with the agency, but I know Allison was probably really big into, we want you to work hard and, and all those things, but we understand you've got a family at home that you want to be with and take care of. And I feel like that was probably something she really was focused on, is making sure that, yes, you can, be here and do all those things, but also we're not going to ask so much of you that it takes you away from, your family and your personal life and all of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, being a performance-driven agency, it's kind of like, do your stuff, get your stuff done, meet your numbers, meet your metrics. And then if you do those things, you kind of have that kind of flexibility, so to speak. And, do your job, do it well. And then we're not going to question like what else is happening. And I'm not going to say that we don't go, well, are we spending time doing something we shouldn't be doing? It's more of like, hey, we have a job and we're going to do our job. And then as long as we do our job, it's not like we're going to make you stay 50 hours, 60 hours a week just because.
Sure.
So I think the expectation is very clear about what our job is. And I think that helps us manage our time while we're at work. And that's huge. I've worked with industries before where I have like really no clear expectation of what I'm there. And I've worked for jobs before where it's literally like, it's a time clock. They don't really care what you get done in a day. They don't care that your work is already done. All they want to know is that you've worked 60 hours that week.
Right.
So I really love that it's performance driven. And as long as you get your stuff done and as long as you are doing good at what you're doing, it's not extra pressure.
Well, how about the idea of, or the aspect of culture as well, and, how you support people in their various positions and what they're doing? How about some of those things?
Yeah. So both Allison and now our current CEO, Jennifer, are really big about connecting with our staff and having like biweekly checkpoints or bi-monthly checkpoints. So we're checking in with our staff going, how are things going? How are you? Not necessarily just jumping on them about like their work, but finding out personally, like, how are you? What do you need from me? How can I help you? What challenges are you meeting? And
I know
Allison
talked a lot about, things that happen in your personal life can spill into your professional life. And a lot of times employers don't really care about that. They just want, the results driven type of thing without caring about what's happening in your personal life that may be affecting that. And that was big for her.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'm sure that's going to be an unpopular opinion, but anybody that is a supervisor that may be listening, it is almost impossible to separate your work life and your home life, even as much as you try and as hard as you try. And whether you're a parent, whether you're male or female, it does not matter. It is very hard to separate the two. And when you feel guilty as a parent, it goes into your work, and you're worried
about what's happening at home.
Yes, and you're not going to be at your best. But knowing I can come into the office, I can get my work stuff done, and then I can go deal with what I need to deal with at home. If I have a sick child or whatnot, I'm better at focusing on each piece of it and kind of compartmentalizing what I'm doing because I know I have that trust and that flexibility from my supervisor.
Sure.
So yes, I think it's super important to do that.
Breann, I got to let you go, unfortunately. How do folks learn more about the opportunities at Community Action?
Yes. So capsule.info, there is a human resource page. Go visit it. All the job descriptions are loaded on there. We also posted on our Facebook page. It's the best place to go for updated information, or 732-2159 is our location in Lincoln.
Very good. That is Breann Titus, Agency Development Director for Community Action, in studio with us here this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News is next.
WHOW.
With SRN